Hi guys, it's Max Powers with an important service announcement. Um, this is woo related, and I do not want you to think or I don't want you to tune out because there's a little woo coming up. Um, I haven't really told you much of my background. My background involves interaction with Bigfoots from a piece of land that my family used to vacation on for years. So Bigfoot interaction starts back when I was 3 or 4 years old, up to my sighting when I was a teenager, and then 35 years since I've been out looking for this creature. If you talk to people who look for Bigfoot a lot in the woods, Les Stroud, who's the guy on How to Hunt, they will all agree that the more you look into this, even though it is a physical creature, and I wanna stress that there is woo. Woo enters into it. Woo enters into it so much that Les Stroud thought he was going crazy and actually went to a shrink because of it. That says a lot. This is a man who's out in the woods. There's something strange in the woods. So bear with me on the woo. My first experiences with Bigfoot were when I was 3 or 4 years old. My family would go up to our property in New Hampshire, and it was 1,200 acres, which attached to on pretty much three sides large tracts of forest land, large tracts of preserved forest land. I don't really know how to describe it, but my family called it my imaginary friend. When I was really, really young, somewhere out in the woods was my imaginary friend, and I referred to him as the old man. Now, when I think back on it, for some reason, I refer to him as the old man in the woods. But the old man in the woods used to tell me things. I didn't hear voices in my head. I got concepts. You can take it or leave it, believe what you want. Was I a crazy little kid? Probably. Am I still a crazy old man? Probably. But as I grew up, whatever was going on continued. I had my own bedroom. It was on the ground floor. My window was probably 3.5 or 4 feet off the ground, so not very high off the ground. But on that windowsill, something used to leave me gifts of rocks, just little river rocks, but they were always very unique river rocks. Shiny, polished rocks. For most of the year, my family lived down here on Cape Cod, where we had beaches. So as a little kid, I used to collect rocks on the beach, and I would bring them to the old man or the old man in the woods, and I would leave them on my windowsill. And they would be gone. And my dad always just figured that they would fall off the windowsill and become part of the, vegetation below that window. It was just a natural landscaping, so it was pine needles and weeds, basically. One day, I found this really unique rock on the beach. It was black and shiny, like a piece of onyx. I don't think it was onyx. My dad found it very interesting. I brought it and I put it on the windowsill for the old man of the forest. Bear with me while I tell this little bit of the story. Left it on the windowsill. The old man of the forest came and took it. It was a gift for him. Makes sense to me. And my dad was talking to a friend about this rock, wondering if perhaps it was something that was worth anything. And he asked me, and I remember the rock. I remember him asking about the rock. And before he passed, we had another conversation about that rock. So it stuck out in his mind enough that there was something to this rock. Anyway, I said, I left it on the window for the old man in the forest. So my dad went down to my room, and it wasn't there. And he and his buddy, who he was talking to about rocks, went outside to look under the window. And it wasn't under the window. He's like, "Are you sure you left it there?" I was like, "Yeah, the old man probably took it." So he started wondering. So this rock exchange went on for a few years as I was a little kid. And they would come in and find me talking out the window. I'd have my window open. I'd be talking to something out there. It could be the middle of February and it could be, 6 degrees. It's New England. And I'd have the window open talking to something. My imaginary friend. They'd shut the window. They'd put me to bed and be like, "Hey, lock the window, close the curtains," and they'd be gone. And my dad would give me my stern warning, and so I wouldn't get out of bed again. Eventually, the gifts that I was getting changed from rocks to things like field mice, moles, voles, and they'd be wrapped in leaves and tied with like grass or strips of bark or something. They were tied with a natural element found outside. This made my dad start to wonder. And when he would come in again and I'd be talking out the window to whatever this was, he would start to worry. He knew it was something, but didn't know what it was. So it got to the point where they actually left. At the time, it was probably a Sony or from Sears, right? Because there weren't many companies out there that did that. But it was a video camera that recorded on those big tapes. So if the tape was this big, the camera, it was the size of a Buick. It was huge. They would actually put that on a tripod in my bedroom and point it towards the window. And when they did that, I would not have the interaction, at least in my bedroom or at night, with the creature. Now, I'm sure, he didn't put a tape in it all the time. If so, I don't know where those tapes would have gone. It was a long, long time ago. But it stopped that activity. I would still have my conversations down by the river as I played, or, there were certain parts in the wood. There was this waterfall with like neat big flat rocks on top, and I would go up there and I would be able to have the same interactions. I don't remember much of it, and I'm not really good at hypnosis. As you probably can tell by my ADD, I just can't focus on the guy telling me what to do. So I don't really remember much of it. I would love to remember more of it. My point in telling you these stories is this interaction that I had as a young child profoundly affected the rest of my life. I believe that it led to the sighting I had when I was 14 or 15. And it has definitely, it led to my outlook on life. You have a different mindset when you know there is something else out there that is on par with us intellectually. I think that these things are as comfortable in the woods as I am on the streets of Boston. And right now, and I left a comment, Snow White Bigfoot, her granddaughter, I believe, is having these kind of interactions with them. I am not entirely sure, but I think perhaps rock hounding with Bigfoot, his son, who's 9 years old, is at least seeing them. But as a little kid, this changes your entire outlook. This changes, I really think I've taken the paths in life that I have because of these interactions back then. People don't understand. People, to this day, there's a lot of you scoffing at me. There's people who've already shut this off because of it. But I think it's important, not to me, I don't really care what you think at this point in my life, but to kids like this who are having these kind of experiences with something out there. I think that as adults, we have to let them know, hey, listen, that's okay. There's a lot of things out there in the world that we just don't fully understand. When it happens, let me know it happens. I won't make fun of you. I just want to know. And I think that's important for these kids to know. To know, hey, listen, if these things invite you to go off with them, don't go off with them. I think that's really kind of key. I don't think I was ever invited off into the woods. In fact, whatever this thing was in the woods as I was a kid was probably watching out for me, because it definitely told me days that I shouldn't be in the woods. Now, what was out there? Was it more Bigfoot? Was it bear? Was it coy wolf, coy dog, coyote kind of things? I don't know. Was it something that was probably dangerous to me? Yeah, because I really got an ominous feeling that I just didn't want to be in the woods that day. And like I said, I think it was a protective, like watching over me type of thing. And I think it comes to, if you watch something grow up, you get used to it. And I was there for, 17 years, maybe even longer than that. We still went back when I was in college, so. But I think it's important. I think it's important not to scoff at people, especially young ones who may have had some kind of interaction. I think it's important, if you have a child who's doing this, to A, watch them closely, B, let them know, hey, it's okay, whatever's going on, and let them know that they can talk to you about it. And I think I would be less, I'm not really secretive about it, but I don't tell people. And had I realized my thirst for this kind of knowledge earlier in life, which I may have, I would probably be further along in my pursuits here. Maybe I would have pursued something other than, other than art and what have you. Not that that was a bad thing, but who knows what direction I could have gone in. I may have been the next Jeff Meldrum. Who knows? Anyway, I just wanted to say there's stuff that goes on in the woods. I'll probably edit all the rambling out. Maybe not. Maybe I'll put a nice pretty river scene in there while you listen to this. We'll see. Hopefully the background noise is not too much. I don't have the best in the way of audio equipment. But, yeah, another 2 cents worth. That's probably, not even worth that. Anyway, have a good day. Thanks a lot.